All right, welcome back, Next Gen family, to another amazing edition of Mentor Moments. I am joined today by the lovely Stephanie Kumar. I cannot be more excited for our session. Stephanie is the head of data and customer insights for ads marketing at Google. She spent some time at Pinterest, some time at Yahoo. We got tons of stuff to talk about, lots of insights for the next generation coming on here. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I cannot wait. And you have the fire red color on. You're bringing the energy. We know it's coming. We're going to start, as we always do, with some fun rapid fire questions. Get you feeling good, get you ready for some of the harder hitting ones coming later. But, we're going to put you on the hot seat for a few minutes here. Are you ready?
Yes, let's go.
Let's do it. What is one book that you would recommend everybody read right now?
Radical Candor by Kim Scott.
I love that. Second question for you. What is one wellness tip that you would recommend everybody follow?
Sleep 8 hours a day if you can. Anything less than that, you're going to feel it later. So invest in yourself.
I love that one because I don't think enough people think about that. People are like, oh, I got to work out. Like I'll sacrifice my sleep so that I work out or so that, I get to, go for that walk or whatever. But yeah, that 8 hours is huge.
Yes.
What is one productivity hack that keeps you producing at the top level day in and day
out? This might sound a little nerdy, but I'm a huge fan of Inbox Zero. If you can prioritize the emails both personally and professionally, it feels good to open your inbox and only see a few things. So archive what you can, delete what you need to, and just focus on those few things that really matter.
You're a huge Inbox Zero team over here at Next Gen. So I can 100% relate. I feel like I always get to like Inbox like 2, and I'm like, there's 2 pesky ones I don't get rid of, but definitely reminders, archiving, making sure it's all, you get that nice clean inbox before the end of the day.
Exactly.
And your final rapid fire question, talk us through, if you can, a little bit about your morning routine, what you do every day that helps set you up for success.
So I'll start by, I'm a mom and I have a 5-year-old, so my mornings tend to be a little chaotic. But what I do, which is unusual for my colleagues and people that I work with, is I actually wake up around 5:30 every day. And I like to have like a 30-minute where it's just peace and quiet and I can ease my way into the day, maybe have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and then it's full on parent mode after that of like making breakfast, getting her ready for Zoom, school, kindergarten in the next room. So yeah, that's usually what my morning looks like. And then I dive right into work after I have that moment of mindfulness.
Wow. Kudos to you. That's truly incredible. I'm sitting here being like, man, my mornings are crazy. Absolutely not. I can't even ever complain. Zoom school sounds, I'm lucky I did not have to go through that. I'm sure. I mean, God bless the teachers too. That's got to be a tough job for sure.
Yeah, it's incredible to watch it from a distance. And fun fact is, my 5-year-old knows how to put an out of office on her own Google Calendar now. So
wow,
new skills for the next generation.
Wow, that is too funny. Hopefully, she's getting to use some of the new Zoom effects and features that they got in, and making it a little more entertaining for all of us, for sure.
Definitely, she keeps it fun.
Awesome. Well, Stephanie, you made it through. I hopefully that wasn't too bad to get us started. I loved all of your answers. I think it's so cool getting to know people in this way and getting to see, a little bit under the hood of, how does Stephanie perform at the level that she does. But now we get to dive into the fun stuff, some of the insights that you have to share, some of the knowledge that we're able to pull from your career so that, the next generation can keep going and keep performing at their level. So obviously, as we started off here, I mentioned your incredible title right now, and you worked at multiple high-level organizations, Fortune 500 companies, in this realm of insights and helping companies focus on insights and on customer data and trends. Can you talk to us about this experience and how every job that you've had has used data to inform, high level company strategy?
Yeah, so I can give you a view of the different types of flavors of roles that I've had and how data has been used in various ways. But I'd start with data isn't the end all be all. It's really how you use it, how you do the transformation from data to insight to strategy that really matters. We can all swim in data. There's so much data out there. So it's really a curation or editorial view on that data that really matters and how it becomes impactful to the business. So I'll start way back, almost a decade ago. I was at Yahoo and I worked really closely with data engineers and data scientists. And we were pulling from the data clouds all sorts of data across all of our products and how everything was performing, how users were starting on one product and going to the next, and how they would go back and forth. And the way that we use that data is to inform all of our executives, so our C-suite, of how different bets were paying off or not paying off, and how the user journey started, stopped, and weaved in between. And so we were the experts on our consumers there and helped our executives better understand their investments in various products. So that was really exciting. It was a global role, working with people who are much smarter than me, all the data scientists and data engineers I partnered with, and my role was that translator. I'd say that that's consistently been my role in my career, is working with people who are incredibly brilliant and taking what they do and translating it to the business side or strategy side. So that was Yahoo. Pinterest was about mining our first party data. So understanding how people were pinning things, how they were creating boards or clustering ideas together, and using that to create stories that were inspirational to advertisers who were looking to spend media dollars on Pinterest. So the fun stuff there is I would go into pitch meetings. I would go into meetings where, like Mad Men style, our goal was to really show the story of Pinterest and get people excited to spend their media dollars there. And then at Google, I think of myself as the voice of the customer. So the customer for me right now is advertisers and agencies who are spending their media dollars on Google. And I am their advocate to our internal executives. So what do they need? What do they want? What can we do as a company to help grow their business? And that all comes from different types of data. I work with surveys. I work with qualitative interviews now. I still work with massive amounts of data and data analysts who are, again, much more brilliant. And I'm the connector of what they do and the translator to our internal executives.
Wow, so much over the years, and I think you shared something in the very beginning, which is like data not being the end all be all, but what you do with it. Do you think that you could dive in a little bit more into like kind of, as I think about our community and our founders and everybody saying, oh, there's quantitative data, and you just mentioned too, you're now diving more into the qualitative survey side. What's like a good split? How many people do you need in a qualitative survey for it to actually hold true? What should our people be thinking about when they're looking to collect their own data?
So I would say always start with a business objective. So have a hypothesis in mind, even if at the end of the day you prove your own hypothesis wrong, but have an idea of where you want to go before you get into the data. Again, there's so much data you can drown in it because you can go every which way, get down rabbit holes if you don't have a North Star. So I think that's the most important thing. And then as I've grown throughout my journey with data, I'm a huge fan of marrying different types of data together. So I'd say that, behavioral data tells you what people are doing, but it doesn't tell you why they're doing it, right? So when you have a handful, depending on the scope of the research that you're doing, but talk to people, ask them why they're doing whatever you see in your behavioral data. That'll give you more of the texture. It'll give you quotes. It'll give you videos like the ones that we're doing right now. And then do surveys too. Surveys will tell you at scale what people need and want. And when you bring all three types of data together, you have the 360 view on the consumer or the customer.
Yeah, I'd love to know how, like, I feel like you mentioned it too. I'm sure things have changed so much over the course of what you've done. When you look back, at those early days at Yahoo, what's like something that, you wish that you knew kind of diving in that you're like, wow, now I know, having been in this space for 10 years?
Well, I'd say that the data landscape has changed a lot. And I'm sure folks who are watching who are in the data space knows that privacy and security is huge, right? And that we're going into a space where cookies are going away. So there is a lot of innovation that needs to happen in order to tell these holistic stories. But there's an importance of doing that in a privacy and secure first way, right? Like, how do we protect our data? How do we protect our consumers? So I'd say that has dialed up significantly in importance, and it guides every single data decision that my team and I make. So yeah, I'd say that is the biggest change probably, is that it's not the wild, wild west that it might have been before, or like if you're in a startup, it might feel like that. But as you get into that maturity and bigger company, that will become even more important than it was even 10 years ago.
Totally. I think pivoting a little bit, and you mentioned when you were talking about how you and your team think about and inform the decisions you make on a day-to-day basis. And you're speaking to an audience of people that would love to own a business, would love to, either run their own business and team, or, run a team at a larger organization, get to some level of being able to manage people and grow and build together. From your perspective, can you talk to us about your tips for keeping your team, motivated, keeping them at their best, at their sharpest, so that you can be freed up to do what you do best as well?
Yeah. So I've been managing teams since 2012, and I've learned the hard way, stumbling blocks and all of what it takes to have an effective team that's motivated. And I jotted down 5 learnings that I've collected over the years, and I'll go through them pretty quickly. But first, I say North Star it and get the heck out of the way. So if you create a strong all-star team who is incredible at what they do, they don't need to be micromanaged, right? Like, all they need to do is have a shared vision and a shared objective of where they're going to go. And then as a leader, it's vital to get out of their way so you don't impede the process and the engagement and effectiveness that this team can have on their own with a little bit of guidance and guardrail. So that's the first one. Second, I would say leadership. My view of leadership is that you are doing a service role to your team. You are there to uplift them, to understand their aspirations, to be supportive of where they want to go in their career. And if there's a moment where my team doesn't feel like I am supporting them, then I feel like I've not done my job as their leader. So that's really important to me. Third is, and this is for ICs as well, individual contributors, feedback is a gift. Care enough about a person or an engagement to receive it and give it. This goes back to my favorite book, Radical Candor by Kim Scott, is you have to learn how to do this in a way where you show that you care deeply about somebody and it's coming from a good place, but is also unfiltered enough so they get exactly what you are sharing with them. And it's a two-way street. So that's feedback. Fourth is psychological safety is critical. So if the team doesn't feel comfortable opening up to you, then your ideas and your innovation is going to get stifled, and also your happiness factor is going to decline. And nobody wants to be part of a team that is unhappy or is not innovating. So this is really critical. And then the last one is transparency is the bedrock to trust, which leads to psychological safety. And so I think it's critical to be open and authentic with your team. Tell them when things are good and when they're not good. and be open with them on like who you are and what you're going through. And the more that you do that, the more they'll do that with you. And an example of what I do on my team is I share my people manager performance results with them. So I literally take my scores and my numbers and my open-ended comments of what I need to do better. And I share that back and I say, like, I hear you, I see you. This is what I'm going to be doing to be a better leader for you. So thank you for the feedback. So that's what I do on my side.
Wow. My mind is blown. I'm like, we can stop the interview right here. Like that's all I need. I mean, even the first one, North Star it and get the heck out of the way. I'm sold on that. I'm like, I need to be doing more of that with my team. You know, if I'm the bottleneck, that's a huge problem. Then all of a sudden I'm in meetings I don't need to be in. I'm feeling not as good about myself. My team's not feeling great because they feel micromanaged. I think, I mean, yeah, that was awesome. Those were 5 incredible tips. One more that I think one more question I'd love for you to shed some light on. And I can't wait to hear what you got prepared for this one. But what is one lesson that you learned early on in your career that still holds true today?
So I'd say that this is something I got in the early part of my career, and it shows up in different ways as you progress. But I would say that it's really vital to ruthlessly prioritize. And a lot of us are excited about what we do. We're passionate. We want to do all the things, right? Like we're entrepreneurs and we're trying to figure out how do we grow our business. And I think that it's tempting to want to work 80 hours a day. And it goes back to that well-being, right? Of like, how do you show up in your best way? How do you do your best thinking? How do you innovate? And I think that if you're doing what I call the peanut butter approach, where you're trying to do all the things and you're spreading yourself thin, you're not going to end up doing any of them really well. And so I think it's important to find those 2 or 3 things that you're going to be laser focused on and say no to the other stuff. Like the word no is so empowering, and people will respect you more the more you say no, because they know that this person is laser focused on X, Y, and Z. So there's always going to be some executive or board member that's going to ask you for something. There's going to be some stakeholder who wanted something yesterday, right? But like take the time to push back, to have a look at your priorities, and ultimately invest in yourself. Sleep, do mindfulness activities, be your best self, and that'll help you be more strategic in the long run too.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I already have like 4 people on our team in mind that I'm like, hey, you need to watch this right now because this is you to a T. Somehow we've made it to the end of our time here. I don't know how that happened. I need to go back and watch this because there's so much in here. But before we close out, I always love to end these by getting your take on the next generation. Obviously, you're speaking to an audience of people that are coming up. They're rising through the ranks. They're either, getting in college, getting out of college, starting their own company, working their first job. And it's an exciting time. It's a very weird time, given everything that's going on in our world. But with all of that said, Stephanie, what excites you about the next generation?
So I will say I am truly inspired by you all. I have so many colleagues that are coming straight out of college who I'm learning stuff from, and I'd say that the big change in behavior that I see for our next generation is that there's this passion to change the world. It's not enough to change your team or your community or the organization you're in. It's like big picture thinking, and I really, really respect and admire that. And when you share some of these questions, there's a quote that I want to leave you guys with that inspires me, and I think it perfectly sums up our next generation. And this quote is from someone who I admire. His name is Jean-Claude Biver, and he revolutionized the Swiss watch industry, completely changed it. And he said, "In the river, only the dead fish swim with the current. A fish that is alive goes to the left and to the right of the current and against the current. I don't want to be a dead fish. I don't want to do what others are doing. All my life, I always wanted to be first, different, and unique." And I think that that's what sums up our next generation.
Wow. this has been an incredible interview. My three takeaways to leave them for everybody: data isn't the end all be all. North Star and get the heck out of the way, and ruthlessly prioritize. It's okay to say no. I didn't even get time to process that last quote, but I'm sure if I had 4 takeaways, that would be on there. Stephanie, you are an absolute delight. Thank you so much for joining us on Mentor Moments with Next Gen HQ. Hopefully, we can get you back here soon.
Sounds good. Thanks again.